What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Raw review. This one is from June 5th, 1995. Raw starts off with footage from earlier at a rally in Ohio where Bob Backlund was seen giving a speech since he's running for president. How does this eventually pay off? It's going to be Bob Backlund versus Bill Clinton at WrestleMania 12. Winner becomes president. Or actually, it'll take place at Survivor Series because that's during the voting season. So, Bob Backlund, Bill Clinton in a Survivor Series tag team match, I can see that happening. Also, during the intro where Vince and Jerry Lawler talk about the show, we learn that Bret Hart has accepted the challenge from the King for a Kiss My Foot match. Just when you thought it couldn't get worse, they throw this at you. The first match of the show is Savio Vega making his Raw in-ring debut against a jobber. And look at that, what a coincidence that Savio Vega knows how to wrestle. He was just a childhood friend of Racers from back in his hometown or wherever when we first met him, but all of a sudden he's a wrestler. Savio gets the win with a submission move. He's now also in contention for the Birth of Faye Dominance Award. He needs one more win to surpass her with a record of 1-0. Him and Hunter Hearst Helmsley are neck and neck right now, all at 1-0 on Raw since their debuts. And we haven't seen Birth of Faye in a while, so right now I think Helmsley might be getting this award named after him. He just needs one more win because Savio Vega, as you know, on Raw, they have them have a match or they appear on the show like 1 week and then we won't see him again for like 2 or 3 weeks. And it's been at least 2 or 3 weeks since we last seen Hunter, so he might be getting a match before Savio gets another one. If that makes any sense. Anyway, moving on. We get some word from DiBiase and his stable. Tatanka, DiBiase, and Sid bring up the injury that Diesel has and say that the pain he feels now isn't compared to the pain they're going to give him and Bigelow in their tag match at King of the Ring, I believe. Yeah, that's the next pay-per-view. Then we see Sunny and Skip warming up before their match. Sunny doing her best trying to get this over, but Skip just looked awkward. You could tell that he doesn't like doing this gimmick. Coming from, actually, he wasn't on ECW on any of these past shows that I've watched, so I don't think Chris Candido or Skip has been. Where is he coming from? Is he coming from? No, he's not in. He wasn't in WCW either. I haven't seen him on any other pay-per-views. Where I might want to look that up. Or not really, actually. I don't really care. Moving on, they come out and interrupt the guy trying to sell us t-shirts. And for some reason, they still haven't let Barry Horowitz recover to 100%. So the conspiracy continues. Right away, Sonny is super over with the men in the crowd. You can see this one guy with a kid in front of them pretending to squeeze Sonny's ass. So getting into the match, Barry in control at the start. But then Skip hits a leg drop from the top rope. And if you look closely, he for sure injures Horowitz. And I'd be surprised if he didn't give him a stinger and a concussion at the same time. So, of course, Horowitz is out like a light because Skip went into business for himself here. Skip gets the pin and wins his Raw debut. So, now, not only is Horowitz recovering from a leg and kneecap injuries, but now he's in concussion protocol. So, thanks to Skip for continuing the downfall of Barry Horowitz. You gotta give it up to him though, he's a trooper, but how does he expect to win after all these dirty tactics the WWF is throwing at him to keep him down? And then just to say too, Skip also now in contention for the Birth of Faye Award with a record of 1-0. Next up, we have our last qualifying match for the King of the Ring, the British Bulldog versus Owen Hart. What I did for this one is sat back and watched the match without taking any notes. This was from a different show because they are at a different arena, and now Jim Ross and Gorilla Monsoon are doing commentary. So the match was okay. I wouldn't say it's a must watch. There was a 15-minute time limit, and once the match got down to the last 5 minutes, the story was British Bulldog trying to keep Owen down. He did hit the running power slam, but Owen got the foot on the rope. So then the final minute and a half, they were just trading roll-ups and pinning combinations, but nothing worked. The time limit ended up expiring, and when they cut back to Vince on Raw, he told us that Jack Tunney was scrambling in the bag to figure out what to do with the remaining spot in the tournament. The person they were going to face was Razor Ramon, so my money would have been on Owen winning this because he's a heel going up against the face, but I'm not sure what they do here. Interesting twist for the final spot, so I'll see what they do. I doubt they're going to give a babyface a bye in the first round. So next we have Bret Hart coming to give his thoughts on his match against Jerry Lawler. We get a close-up of Jerry's feet throughout this promo. Bret the whole time is just crying about letting his family down after letting Lawler pin him, and that's why he's accepted this match. He is going to get retribution for his family by winning the rematch, and once he does that, he's going to take the King's dirty foot and shove it down his throat. I've heard that Jerry Lawler is a legend in wrestling, on the level of like Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes from his time in Memphis Wrestling, but all I've seen during the time with the WWF is just a joke. Like his King's Court, they started off fine, and obviously they had some guests that were decent, but for the most part, those King's Court segments were trash. And when he first started, he's just a joke. Like he tries to be funny, but he's not really. Like I don't understand why. How does his commentary skill with Jim Ross? How is that like one of the best things of WWE history? But him by himself as a talent, being a pro wrestler on the show is just like it's not it. Like he's just trash. Like I don't know how to explain it. I gotta see some stuff from Memphis Wrestling, I guess. Please send me some links or something of a match or a segment or a promo that he cut that made him into a legend in Memphis Wrestling, because I don't believe it. And speaking of jokes, for the final spot in the King of the Ring, we're gonna get Lex Luger or Yokozuna. At this point, just give Razor Ramon a bye. I don't care if he's a babyface. I appreciate that they decided to still fill this spot, but why with those guys? Just do a rematch between Bulldog and Owen Hart. Now we got to see a Yokozuna and Lex Luger match, which we already saw. And again, because Razor Ramon is a babyface, Yokozuna is going to get over on Lex Luger once again. We also get a match here for Jean-Pierre Lafitte. He picks up the win with a Swanton Bomb over a jobber. He's been on TV before this gimmick change, so he doesn't qualify for the Bertha Faye Award, but I did catch some more of his match, and Lafitte is ahead of his time with some of the moves that he was doing as a big man. I said it when he was in the Quebecers. This guy moves pretty good for a big man at the time, where all the other guys his size were just doing bear hugs and body slams, and he's pulling out suicide dives and swanton bombs. Good for him, but I don't recall them ever pushing him with this character, so not really much to look forward to with him. So we'll just see what he does, if anything, until he eventually gets released. We then see Bob Backlund again, still at the rally, but nobody is there anymore. They mentioned something about Man Mountain Rock being on Raw next week, and Bob Backlund was mad. So it looks like they're going to have a match here in between this campaign for Bob Backlund. Then to end the show, we see the rise and fall of Yokozuna from when he beat Hulk Hogan at the King of the Ring in 1993 up until he got body slammed by Lex Luger on the 4th of July of the same year. It does bring back some memories. I'm not talking about when I was young because I wasn't born yet, but it brings me back to when I started these reviews back in 2020. It's only been 2 years as of this recording. I don't know when this is going to come out. It might be 3 years, maybe 4. But yeah, it feels like a long ass time ago. But yeah, seeing Lex Luger body slam Yokozuna in 1993, that brings back memories of the pandemic when it was just getting started. Nobody knew what was going on. But yeah, not to reminisce all that stuff again. So that does it for the show. I'm going to give this episode a good grade. We have the debut of Sonny. Jean-Pierre Lafitte continues to impress me. A video package, callback kind of, to promote the match next week between Luger and Yokozuna, and the match between Bulldog and Owen Hart. Even though it was a time limit draw, it was still a entertaining match for what it was. So there were parts on the show to go back and watch. So yeah, not a terrible show here for 1995. And with all that being said, I'm out. Catch you guys on the next review.